Welcome to Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. Today, what I'm going to share with you is something that my wife and I have been laboring on for several weeks, and that's preparing the land to handle a wildland fire much better than it was before when we took ownership of the property. The previous owners didn't really do a whole lot in regards to fuel mitigation on the land. There was a lot of brush, like massive amounts of brush on the backside of the property, because the backside of our property slopes down to the people that live on the other street behind us, and there was tons and tons of sagebrush, manzanita. The trees needed limbing up. So the majority of the work was in the back side of the property, but also on the front side of the property, which we're on right now, there's still a lot of trees on the front side. I had to limb up all those trees. We gathered up all the limbs into big piles, and then we used that Mech Max wood chipper that I bought to handle all of the things we were doing on the property. We were initially planning on getting a trailer and trailering off all of the trimmings that we would do from the trees and the pine cones and everything like that, but my wife came up with a good idea and thought that maybe wood chipping it right on the property would be a better way to go, and I agreed with her, and we spent quite a bit of money on that Mech Max wood chipper, but it's going to pay for itself because of all the time we would have had to spend to do dump runs and also buy a trailer, which I still might buy a trailer at some point, but for right now we don't need one because we're chipping everything right on the property. So what you're seeing behind me is a kind of a rock outcropping that has a mix of manzanita, sagebrush, this kind of stuff that I don't really know what the hell it is. It's kind of like a flowering weed. And then there's other stuff out here like low grass. It's kind of tufts, but I'm not really worried about the grass so much because it's pretty low. I'm worried more about those weeds with the flowers and the brush, which could end up being a ladder fuel to create a canopy fire. And so I'll explain to you what a ladder fuel is. We'll come closer to the tree and I'll explain it. So right underneath the canopy of the tree, you have this flowering kind of weed or whatever it is, and then you have some brush over here, and if a fire comes through, catches the brush on fire, and if the tree isn't limbed up high enough, that fire from the brush can carry up into the canopy, and now you have a canopy fire. And you don't want a canopy fire because then it could go from tree to tree to tree and just burn up the whole forest. So the goal is to keep the fire on the ground, not let it get up into the tree canopies to where it's a canopy fire. So this pine tree right here is a little bit too low. So I'm gonna grab my steel pole saw and I'm gonna limb this up pretty high, and then I'm also gonna take out these ladder fuels so the fire can't continue up into the canopy and create that canopy fire I talked about. And we are luckily at the very tail end of our nightmare of work here. We've been working super hard for weeks, and we finally see a light at the end of the tunnel. We're at the very, very tail end of finishing this up. And why is this a big deal? Well, number one, for the fire danger. Number two is we are having difficulty getting an insurance company to insure us. We initially had a company insure us. They came out and inspected it. After the inspection, they dropped us. And we addressed some of the things that they're worried about with tree limbs overhanging close to the roof or touching the roof and pine needles and all that kind of stuff. But I already addressed all that, sent pictures to my insurance agent, and still the company says, nope, we are not insuring this property. So now we have Allstate insurance, and Allstate is going to send out an inspector, and we are hoping, double fingers crossed, that the Allstate inspector is going to say, property looks good, we're going to continue to insure you and not drop you like the last company did. So that's the two main reasons. Having insurance is pretty damn important, but I'm more worried about the fire load and preventing our house from burning down because we have too much fuel on the property. Because of my firefighting experience, I know if somebody stays and defends their property during a wildland fire, they have a very good chance of saving the property, provided they know what they're doing. And so that is my plan. If a wildland fire ever threatens our property, I plan on staying. Now, some of you might think, that sounds kind of stupid and dangerous, Timmy. Aren't you risking your life? Well, technically, yeah, I might be risking my life doing that, but you just have to be smart. And if a fire is coming with heavy intensity and I know that I can't really do much about it because it's a crown fire and it's just running tree to tree to tree and it's super hot, then I'll take refuge either in the house or the shop, wait for the fire front to blow by to where then I could safely exit and get the hell out. But my intention is to put a 5,000 gallon water tank on the property. I'm gonna buy a nice portable pump, buy some wildland fire hose, get myself a Nomex wildland outfit like I used to use when I used to fight wildland fires, and protect the property, because I would rather not have our property burned down to the foundation. That would be a bad thing. So I'm definitely gonna stay and defend the property if we unfortunately are forced with a wildland fire burning through our neighborhood. So with that said, let me give you a small demonstration of what we've been doing with limbing up trees, chainsawing brush, and wood chipping. The nice thing about this pole saw is it extends pretty far. So luckily, before I moved here, I owned all this good steel power equipment. The pole saw, a couple chainsaws, a blower, hedgers. So luckily I didn't have to buy any of that, but I ended up buying that wood chipper and the Polaris ATV and a trailer and the log splitter. So we did make some more investment, but it's all stuff that's going to good use. So you get the idea. I want to limit up even more than this, but I just wanted to give you a taste of the pole saw part of it. And then we're going to end up putting that in a pile and putting that through the Mechmax wood chipper. So this is an example of limbing up the tree so any fire on the ground would have a hard time getting up into the canopy. Now, if you have a smaller tree, obviously you can't limb it up this high, because then you'd basically just scalp the tree. You may as well just chop it down. So an example is those two smaller pines behind me. I could limb them up a little bit, but I can't really limb them up that much. So if I do plan on keeping those trees, I just have to make sure that there's not any brush that can easily catch the canopy of the tree on fire and burn it up and kill it. And so now I'm going to switch to my chainsaw, and you'll see me do a little chainsaw work. So on the property in the back, I tried to save some of the manzanita. I basically left isolated bushes, but I didn't leave a lot because manzanita could burn really, really hot. One like this that's kind of old, but it looks like it's dying, I'm just going to take it out. There's this one right here that looks like it's a mature manzanita bush, and it's far enough away from the house and far enough from the tree that I could leave it. So I'm going to leave that one, but I'm going to take out the brush next to it. These little things, I think it would be better with my brush cutter with a tri-blade or with a heavy weed whacker line, but I'm going to see how much I could do just with the chainsaw because I don't know where the weed whacker attachment is, and I have the tri-blade, but I'm around so many rocks that I'm just going to be skipping that tri-blade off of the rock. So I'm going to see if I could do most of it with my chainsaw. So here we go. The stuff near the rocks, you got to be really careful with your blade, and you also got to be careful of digging your blade into the ground cutting this brush. I'm usually pretty good about it, but as you get more tired, it gets much harder to keep the blade from touching the ground. And so the ground just acts like a file or whatever. It's got the dirt and the little rocks, and you could dull your chain. So the whole goal is not to dull your chain to where you have to work harder to cut, or you have to take the time to change the chain or sharpen the chain. So the chain right now is a little bit dull. I'm just kind of feeling lazy, don't feel like sharpening right now. So it's not cutting as well as it could. So this brush right here is right up against rocks. So it just makes it harder to not hit the blade into the rocks. So my wife and I just got done clearing out this whole section, limbing up that tree and a couple other trees back here. And this is an example of how much material we will end up cutting out. You got this big pile here, you've got this big pile here, and we had about a dozen or more piles much bigger than this on the back side of the property. I kind of wish I would have did a before and after to show you how much brush clearing we did on the back side of the property, but it was massive. Now we're going to use the Max wood chipper to chip all this up, which is my least favorite thing to do. hate wood chipping with a passion. This is what your face looks like after hours of wood chipping. It's not fun. And you have to wear a mask over your face or you'll just be breathing in pounds of dust. But my wife and I finally cleared the back of the property of all the excessive brush. Sage, manzanita, limbing up trees. It was a freaking nightmare of work. Yeah, I'm glad it's 95% over. We still have a little bit more to do, but my God, it was horrible. But who knows how much somebody would have charged us to do the same thing, either chip it or haul it off to the dump. So we got it done. So that's a quick example of what we've been doing for weeks. It's not easy work, but luckily the temperature has dropped here and it's a lot more comfortable to work in. So I'm not really sweating my ass off. Right now I got too much clothes on because started off and it was cold. Now it's warmed up a bit, so I'm gonna have to take a layer off and keep working. But now you know what Timmy the Tool Man and his wife Alison have been doing for weeks, trying to clear this land to make it to where it'll handle a wildland fire better, and hopefully it will allow us to get homeowners insurance. So with that said, peace out. Happy chainsawing, happy wood chipping, happy, what else have we been doing? Pine cone picking upping, happy wood splitting. It's been a long 2 months since we've been here. We've been working our butts off, and hopefully we're gonna be able to take a break like very soon, like within a day or two. We're gonna be done with all this yard work and we could concentrate on other things, like maybe having a little bit of fun. It's been all work and no play, and you know what happens when it's all work and no play? That makes Timmy and Alison a dull boy and girl. Bye-bye.